Jaime Torres, the Hispanic Scholarship Alliance and the Hispanic Leaders Group and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Salvador Cruz. I don't really know who I'm representing. Let me tell you who I am. I'm a neurologist. I'm a Mexican. I'm the current chair of acting chair of neurology and psychiatry at San Luis University and work as a voluntary also for the American Heart Association.
Welcome. Linda Marks, member, HLG.
Tony Maldonado, also a member in good standing of the HLG.
Reverend Bailey Tovar, a new member of the Hispanic Leaders Group, also served on the board of directors of the Hispanic Day Incorporated. And I am working out of our humor in Lutheran Church in Overland, Missouri.
Quinoa Camarillo, Permanente Secretary for the Hispanic Leaders Group and member of the Sociedad Hispanoamericana de San Luis, which is one of the oldest organizations still working in St. Louis over 50 years.
Ramiro Benitez, member of the Spanish Leaders Group.
Judy Dry, St. Louis College of Health Careers. We're here tonight on behalf of the owner, founder, Dr. Rose Robinson.
This will be also a St. Louis College of Health Careers.
I'm Vanessa Crawford, I'm the executive director of Missouri Immigrant Refugee Advocacy.
I'm Albert, and I'm married to Mrs. Conley.
And by the way, we're both members in good standing of HLG. Did we get that cleared up? That it's we're in good standing.
We have the credit card ready, so don't worry about it.
Hello, and thank you for your kind invitation. I'm Marty Cortez. Soy mexicana, americana. Very proud to be here tonight and share with you what we are doing at the St. Louis Science Center.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome you all. I am Luis Martinez. I am the current treasurer of the organization. I'm also part of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Venezuelan Association of Missouri.
Don Guillén.
Buenas noches, I'm Guillermo Rodriguez. I'm the chair this year of the Hispanic Leaders Group.
I am Idalia McNulty. I work with Molina Healthcare, and I am the secretary of the Hispanic Leaders Group. And I also belong to the Venezuelan Society, even though I'm from Panama.
You have to make that clear,
Yes.
Good evening. Thank you for your invitation. I'm a visitor here. My name is Sandy Leland Handrick, and I'm the regional director for health equity at the American Heart Association.
She tried to convince me to belong to that, but I'm a banker. I don't have any heart, so there's no way I can go there. And on the other side, I'm also the president of Hispanic Educational and Cultural Fund. So we now present your chairman. Camera is rolling, so you're in the movie. Go for it.
So this meeting is called to order at 6:42, and we have been advised that we have quorum. Don Jaime Torres so certifies. So welcome to the annual meeting. It was a challenging year. You're going to hear a little bit more about this, and we're going to follow the agenda. You should, all of you, or most of you, have an agenda. I don't know that we have enough copies for all of you. And the next thing, well, the first thing is to thank Rafael for entertaining us. And now the minutes of the last year's meeting.
Okay.
Doña Idalia.
The minutes are presented here. We don't have too many copies, so you guys are going to have to share. Who wants to see it? Who approved the minutes?
Motion that they be approved.
Second.
Okay, the minutes are approved.
Second. Okay.
Thank you.
There's a motion. Okay, there's a motion on the second to approve the minutes as written. Any comments? Otherwise, I'll entertain a vote. Those favoring to accept the motion as written, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. It moves. Thank you, Idalia, for your wonderful notes. Las minutas, approve. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the treasurer's report, and for that we have Don Luis Gonzalo Martinez from Venezuela to tell us a little bit about our year.
Thank you very much. So here lies the report of the year, right? For those of you who might want to see it, send me an email and I'll be happy to send you a copy, but I think it's a little too extensive to get into the details. The main thing is that the news are no good. Why? Just because right now we have a net balance for the year of minus $1,115. How did that happen? The board of directors decided that it was important to improve the communication option of the Hispanic Student Group by creating a website that was new and improved. So that costs money. Can you hear me better then? We hope, right? So major expenses. The website development, it is a wonderful website. We're going to go into that, but it requires money, and I think after now, we'll be able to, all of us, update and keep all the information so that it's readily available for all of you, all right? The next is to realize that everyone who hosts an event for us is really someone who puts the best foot forward. That is that all of our events are basically at no cost to us. There are a few instances that may not happen, but all of them. And just to recap, our major event is basically the Hispanic Scholarship Alliance, and the way this is conducted is every event has a chair, a person who takes ownership of that, and that individual generates a report with expenses and revenue, and that report gets sent out to me. So not all of the events that we host are revenue generating. It's an area that we're going to improve. And I want to acknowledge the great effort Jaime taking care of the Hispanic Scholarship Alliance, because really this year alone, his effort led to give $7,000 in a scholarship. So he basically took that on his own and kind of carry on from beginning to end. So remember that, $7,000 all on his own, done by Jaime Torres. So thank you, Jaime, for that. The second and very important event is somewhat of a legacy for the leaders in our community, and that is the Premio Esperanza. Just like I mentioned before, the Hispanic Scholarship Alliance has a chair, in this case, Jaime. The Premio Esperanza this year had also been under the ownership of Jaime Torres. With his leadership, we have been able to create a great memory for the leaders in the community, and there were some expenses that we still will have to cover, but the main thing is that Jaime was the recipient of a leadership award given by the National Heritage Foundation. The recipient in this case had to choose where the money, the award comes with the money, and it comes in the amount of $2,000. Well, Jaime Torres was kind enough to give us that award. So please give him a round of applause. And I was asked to revise the information. It's the National Football League, is that what it is? So here's to them. And this is a nationwide award. And so the main thing is that our total expenses amounted to $12,244. When you compare that to the revenue that we generated in the amount of $11,129, that gave us a balance that is negative. So it is not all bad. What it means is that we, as a team, decided that it was more important to give scholarship to the students. We this year gave $2,000. We could have given $1,000 and still, kind of reduced the commitment there. But the main thing is that everyone every organization, every participant of our events makes a difference, and to them we owe our successes. So I just want to recognize that even though the balance is negative, they this year have been surrounded by very positive accomplishment. So website development, there were $9,000 total scholarship given, 7,000 were from the Alliance, and the 2,000 were given by the Hispanic Leadership Group. So really, we need your generosity and any creativity that you have that might have to be tied to events. Remember, you can create your own venue, based on the 6 main important issues that we work on every year. And then you become basically your own event planner and creator, right? So the only thing we need is a report. Hopefully it'll generate revenue, but the main thing is that it will create the continuous memory that every leader here wants to leave behind. So a good impact in education, a good impact in health, a good impact in legal understanding. So just to recap, we are at a loss, but with you, hopefully we'll be at a gain next year. So thank you for your attention, and that is the end of the report. Anybody who wants a copy of this, please.
I have a question. How much money do we have in the bank?
Right now, cash available in the bank, $3,846. Was that good or what? Huh? So there's still money in the bank, but when you compare what we spend versus what we make, it's still a negative. So thank you for your time. That's it.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept the report as presented? Omar? Thank you, Vice Chair. Very good. Thank you. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. That was easy. Okay, now on the agenda comes the consideration of changes to the bylaws, and I'm going to stand here and try to explain this as best I can. Rafael. Eres aquel.
Sí, cómo no, yo soy aquel.
Okay, at the start of the year, the board wanted to consider some changes to the bylaws. And the board approved those changes, but they have to be ratified by the membership. And that's why I'm going to be presenting them to you. One or two of the changes are really big changes. We believe, the board believes, that it's for the benefit of the association, of the organization. And I'm going to go and tell you which were the changes. One was to increase the number in the board of directors from 9 to a maximum of 15. So that means that the board can go to have an additional 6 members. The other big change was to be more flexible or less restrictive on the definition of what a member in good standing is, so that more members would be able to be so-called members in good standing and be able to run and be nominated for a director position. For example, previously, to be a member in good standing, an organizational members representative and individuals must have participated at least in 50% of the regularly scheduled meetings in a calendar year, and have participated at or supported at least one HLG activity or function, and be, of course, current under dues. What that means is that a good member that joined in October could not be a candidate for a directorship position now. The board felt that it should be available as a possibility to have a good candidate that just happens to be new with the organization, be a director. So the board eliminated those requirements of previous attendance for 50% and for 6 months. Again, the board, the membership will always determine who the directors are. The membership will always determine the winners or those to be elected. So that was the second big change. So the first change is to increase from 9 to up to 15 the numbers of directors, and then to be more flexible in terms of only asking that those candidates for directors be members in good standing, meaning are up to date in their commitments to the organization. With those, of course, then the issue came as to how to divide the numbers of directors so that every year we have 7 going out and 8 going out. That's procedural. We needed to change that in the bylaws. So this time around, we're going to be electing up to 7 directors to serve the term of 2 years starting in January. And Rafael is going to tell us a little bit about that. Again, this only follows the decision to have up to 15 directors. The other change was to the board of directors. The bylaws said that the board should have met or should meet on a monthly basis, except in December. Well, why exception of December? Why not except January? So the board said, no, we're going to meet every month. And of course, it said should. You know, it's not will, but should. The other thing was that the bylaws said that once a director missed 3 meetings in a calendar year, automatically that person was eliminated from being a director. The board of directors believed that changing that was necessary to say may be removed, depending, of course, on the situation and the reason for that absence. Those are the big changes. The other one were just structural, just to work on the style of the bylaws. So again, to recap, and this is for you members to vote whether you accept to ratify the changes as presented by the board, to increase from 9 to 15 the number of directors, to change the definition of a member in good standing, to adjust the 7 and the 8 directors. 7 will cease to perform their duties, be elected, and then 8 in the corresponding year. And then that even in December, the board should try to meet. And of course, that is up to the board to decide whether or not to remove a director for missing 3 meetings based on the excuses or the reasons why that happened. Jaime.
Motion that those changes be approved.
Motion so that the bylaws be ratified as presented by Jaime Torres. Is there a member in good standing that wants to second that?
Second.
Second by the Honorable Marito. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? So moved. Thank you. Now with that, we have Don Rafael Nun Marin. He's going to be running the election process. He has asked Ramiro Benitez to help him. So,
Don Ramiro,
Rafael Ramiro.
I just want to certify that the quorum is good, Jaime. Don Jaime, quorum is established.
Yes, we have
And we still need to-
over the minimum of 13.
So we passed the quorum requirements, so everybody is ready to vote. Yeah, but I have to read the 200 pages of Guillermo gave me. Buenas noches, I have to say in the language that they say. Good night, everyone. I'm Rafael Nun Marin. I have been designated chair of the election committee. We are the election committee. And they will be held with the nomination and election process. Nomination and election process. In any given time you want to switch language, I can do it in English, Spanish, French, or whatever, Italian. Election will be held today at this annual meeting held on Wednesday, December 14, 2011, in the center of Clayton. Quorum consists of 1/3 of the membership in good standing, and we already have certified quorum. Weeks ago, the board of directors of the Hispanic Leader Group asked for nomination. Only members in good standing can nominate candidates to the board of directors. Only members in good standing may be nominated to be elected. The nominations were sent to the Hispanic Leader Group Nomination and Election Committee, our committee, P.O. Box 838, St. Louis, Missouri 63118. And because we have lawyers here in the laws, I have to read everything. Nominations were verified for eligibility and of nominated candidates. Members in good standing criteria as per the bylaws. Article 5, Section 4, nomination of election and term in office. Members are in good standing if they have been elected to membership by the board of directors, have not voluntarily withdrawn from the membership, have not been expelled from membership by the board, their membership fees are up to date, are not subject to any disciplinary action or penalty, or are in jail at this time. The board of directors announced the names of all that were nominated and meet the criteria. When I give your name, please stand up so we know who you are. Pendy Trujillo, Felix Tobar,
Feliz.
Feliz. Okay, tengo que sacarlo español. Feliz Tobar, Happy Tobar in English. Fernando Serrano, Linda Mert, Idalia McNulty, y Deborah Bomarito. Una elección por Dinora. English, Spanglish. Those are the nominated. Please give a round of applause. Now, let's go for the voting one. Only members in good standing may vote during the annual meeting. We already know who they are. We're going to certify that those ones have the las papeletas, pero todavía no se las damos hasta ahorita. We have to use the dual language to avoid conflict of interest. Nomination may be made during the annual meeting, and the nomination committee will verify eligibility. So that means that you can nominate a candidate that is not on the list right now. What we do is you present your candidate, they accept it, we verify that it's a good standing, and whoever presents them is good standing, we can add it to the group. And this time, do we have anyone that really love to come and join our group, that want to be nominated, or somebody that you want to nominate that may accept that nomination?
Clarification, and this is for the term that starts January 1, 2012, and it's a term of 2 years. We're going to be electing up to 7 for that term, and there has been 6 nominations so far.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, falta uno. Hay una candidata más. Yeah, one more slot to get nominated. You, one volunteer before we point out.
Yeah. I'd like to
we have one there.
Hold on, wait,
Yeah,
clarification, I just want to know, we can have more candidates than the open slot?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
We have one vacancy, but any candidate that you want to compete with the other one. Yes, sir. That's clarified with the estatutos de la organización.
I would like to nominate Celia, as her schedule allows her to be a part of the board.
I have to decline at this moment because the schedule next year is kind of busy. I'll be more involved for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luis. I'm sorry.
You want a translation of that in Spanglish, Venezuela?
No, I totally got it.
She's a very busy woman, and Jaime.
I'd like to nominate Mario Santander, available to do so.
Am I in good standing?
Dinora, is the,
Okay, Stan, let me see.
Records do show that he is a member in good standing. Question is whether he can handle the duties. Now that he is
Usted acepta
an
la
executive.
nominación.
Accept the nomination.
Nominación para récord es de don Jaime Torres. Que usted parece al frente, diga que sí, que quiere nominarse y le vamos a añadir el nombre aquí. Todo registrado por el protocolo electoral puertorriqueño. We're going to add him, so we have 7 candidates for 7 positions. Do we have one more?
I'd like to nominate Vanessa.
Vanessa?
You are not a member? No.
Vanessa is not a member.
Vanessa, you should be a member.
Somebody take this check, we'll get it ready for next year. Get it ready for next year.
You would like to be, then raise their page, and we take your money quickly, and then for next election, you'll be ready. Okay? Don Jaime.
I would like to know if Cheryl Rose is willing to be a candidate for potential directorship.
Thank you very much, but I'm overextended at the moment.
Thank you.
Okay?
Now,
Overextended, that's no. Anybody else?
would it be fair to ask the following question? Let's say we are here, right? And sometimes we know what our schedule allows to do. If you, within your heart, find that you have the time and effort, and you know that you're in good standing, and you had not been nominated, I'm sure we could probably accept self-nomination. So really be open. If you feel like, you have the heart for it, I don't think that would be against any regulation. So would that be a fair request? Anybody here who may have not been nominated, but in their heart, they find that they want to give the time and effort to the organization, stay your position now.
Well, the other thing is that you don't have to be a board member to be active in the organization. You can be chair of committees and probably even work more than, so, keep that in mind.
Can I ask Lenny, would you be interested?
Thank you, but
Just remember, once you check your schedule, if you change your mind, we're always a vacancy around. Don
Motion
Jaime.
that nominations be closed.
I have a question, please.
Question?
Vanessa, did you accept?
I didn't accept.
Okay.
No.
So
And
we
that
have
she's not a
seven,
member.
we have 7 individuals.
Yeah.
Do we have to go through the written voting?
No.
We need to close the
But we have to go to the step, and let me go back to the step, okay? We have, woman, they roll your leg. I love it, I have a lot of them at home.
Careful what you say, quorum, candidate.
Hey, I have my wife, 3 daughters, 2 female cats, and a fixed dog. I know how to do everything. So don't worry about that stuff. So we have basically 7 candidates, 7 positions. We're gonna go through that one. But before that, let me follow the, Jaime, what else?
There's a motion that was proposed to close nominations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Anybody against that? No? Okay, so it's being accepted.
So then,
Then,
hearing no,
Opposition to it.
no opposition, so all of them are elected to serve.
thank you for letting me do my job. I will repeat that in the language that we can all
I
understand.
want the same comments.
Question,
Gabriel.
yeah, that, the same comment. Out of order, okay.
I will propose that because there are no further nominations, and we have 7 candidates for 7 positions vacant, that all of them be elected by acclamation.
I will do that if you let me do my job, again, the same thing that they have there. Okay, the election committee say very clear, no more candidates from the floor. We have 6, and we have now 7 for 7 positions. Then by acclamation, we're gonna elect them as a member of the board. So, are you in favor? Yeah. Very good. Now, let's do keep on with my job here. Absentee ballots will be open during the, do you have any absentee ballots?
No.
No. Director ended their term, now they're re-elected. The Honorable Juanito and Idalia McNulty, and they were elected already. Yes, so you're okay?
Okay.
Let me see what else, he gave me 3 pages. Director continuing for 1 more year. Karen, Luis, Maria, Oman, y Guillermo Rodriguez. They're actually want to be elected for next year, okay? And then up to 10 directors may be elected. We already finished with that one. And so what we need to do now is out of the one that we have, we need to elect the officer for 2012. And those officers will be chairperson, vice chairperson, recording secretary, correspondence secretary, and the treasurer. So, Jaime.
I propose that if we consider, if the first position open is the chairmanship, I propose Omar Maldonado to be a candidate for chair.
Okay.
Does he accept the nomination?
Mr. Maldonado, ¿usted acepta ser chairman de esta organización? Do you accept the nomination from Don Jaime Torres?
It's like getting married.
Yes, I accept nomination.
Okay, since they don't let me read now, I'm going to say to you, now we're open for nomination. Good, but now that we open for nomination, he has set the nomination for chairman. Do we have any other nomination for chairman? They don't love you.
Yourself.
Okay, now vice chairperson. Now we have opening nomination with vice chair. Vice chair do what the chairperson cannot do, and work with the developing program and work as hard as the chairperson. So, who open the floor for nomination out of all the board of directors? Who will be nominated as chairperson? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to nominate Karen Nebraska. I unfortunately will have to decline, given a limited schedule, which you may understand, but still heartily engaged as a member of the board.
It's easy. I have instituted that on the bylaw, schedule, limited like that. I love that. But it's true. If you don't have the time, you cannot provide effective duty here. That's why I'm only from 13 organizations, I'm down to 3. But the key here is we need good candidates. So look around yourself, see who can be an effective and active and engaged, like we say in PNC, engaged client, engaged member. So not only you go here, but you also sell what the HLG represents to a lot of people in every action that you do. Do we have any candidates?
I would like to nominate Jaime Torres.
Jaime Torres cannot be nominated as an officer, he's not a director.
I'm not, I'm so sorry.
So,
however, he can nominate you if he wants.
Don Jaime, no puede porque usted no es parte de directores, así que habla mucho. Pero, ¿quién más?
Let me propose Idalia as vice chair.
Idalia, do you accept that nomination?
Yes.
Vice chair, okay. ¿Alguien más? Anybody else for that position? No, you want to make it easy for me? I love it. It's nice. Any other for vice chair?
Anybody else?
¿Alguien más? And silent. Are you there? Hello?
We have
Are you here? No? Let's go to the next position. Secretary. Recording secretary. Is that Pomarito for life?
No.
Yeah.
Recording secretary. You nominate Pomarito?
Yes.
No. No. Thank you.
Okay. No aceptas?
No.
Okay. Pomarito no acepta. She say no. Because they're scheduling it difficult. Any secretary? Hello?
I nominate Mario Santander.
Mario Santander.
Mario, ¿tú quieres ser secretaria de...? No. Let me translate correctly. Not a secretary in Spanish. El secretario de comunicaciones.
No, recording.
¿Cómo tú dices recording en español?
El secretario de actas.
I nominate.
Secretario de actas.
Excuse me, I nominate Feliz Tobar.
Pero este nomination here. El secretario de acta, el que coge la minuta. ¿Aceptas?
Feliz will take it up, I will.
No, man, you can vote. Yes or yes?
Can I say?
Sí.
Can I make a clarification? The correspondence secretary keeps the records. There is a secretary position that takes the minutes. There's a difference. The one that we're voting for is the one that Senora Marito has held for many years. She's responsible for making sure. No?
Excuse me.
So let's clarify the position in our
The
language.
recording secretary is the person that records the minutes of each day of the organization's meetings.
Yes.
The correspondence secretary does the correspondence and keeps track of the membership, to invite them to the meetings.
Okay, one is the follow-up and the other one is the minutes secretary.
Right.
Ok, vamos a clarificar en ese español. Uno toma las notas, que es el de acta, estamos correctamente en la traducción, secretario de acta, y el otro es secretario de correspondencia, notaría e información. Ok, ok, acepta la nominación. Do you accept the nomination? Okay, now you have a second nomination. Do you nominate Feliz
Feliz Tobar.
por la misma posición?
Yes.
Okay. There's two candidates now, getting good now. Anybody else? Come on. We're in America. Votes is our best right. Anyone? Okay.
Can we move on to the,
Are you running this?
No.
We have to close the nomination first.
Secretary of Correspondence.
As soon as we finish the nomination for this one, we'll follow your instructions. Okay? Okay, so we have two candidates for one position, and that is accepted. Both have accepted the nomination. Anybody else? No? Yes? Okay. That is closed. We have two candidates we need to vote. Now, the next one, correspondent secretary, el de la correspondencia. Yes, sir. Open for nomination now.
Nominate Felix Tobar for secretary.
Don Feliz Tobar. Happy Tobar, do you accept it?
Point of order, can he be nominated for two positions at the same time?
One position.
Okay.
He can be nominated for 10. The election is, American nomination is like that. Go on the political party, you see how many candidates we have like that. The key is that he knows he's running for the other one. He may win both. And then if we win both, that's what the problem that I see right now. The question is, do you accept that double nomination?
It's very simple to be flexible in your thought process. If he wins both, I'm sure he will delegate one of the positions to his opposition.
Yeah, I understand that, but on this type of organization, we're gonna make it clear. I think we have to clarify the rule. One do one stuff and the other do that stuff. So I need to clarify your right before the court of law. You cannot do two jobs at the same time. When you're elected for two positions, normally you get disqualified in one or the other. Which one you prefer to be nominated for?
That's correct.
Don Feliz.
Recording correspondence.
Esto es peor que estar en Florida en las elecciones, recount.
Yeah. I'll do the correspondence.
Okay. Okay, so you do not accept the nomination for the first position.
I will.
You decline, you get out
I
of
will
there.
decline this first position.
You may have it.
Accept the second.
Point of order. There is very doable to have nomination for both positions. There is no need to divide it. He could carry both or one of each other. What the board decided years ago was to divide it up, but it doesn't mean that the third person cannot do both jobs, as is normally done in other organizations. So
I
don't
really
think
think-
he tries to try and pull it back. There's no need.
Point of order, official elected by the system, you cannot have one official doing two tasks in the, as an officer of the organization. Unless that tasks are together. I don't mind any problem that you put secretary and do both areas, that would be great, but that's part of your organization. I'm just running the election. I will refer to your bylaws and what it means to be an officer of that institution. An officer of the institution can sign for the institution in order to do a lot of stuff. If you have two separate positions, you're giving power to that individual to have two positions with two votes on everything that they do. But you can elect whatever you want. I'm just the election committee, and I just bring that out to you for clarity of purpose and clarity of operation. The recommendation that I was on the floor to take one and the other, it will be accepted, but it's up to you. The floor.
I defer with that explanation of that.
Well, can we go back and refer to Feliz Tobar as to what his position is before we go on?
That's what he said, he just said that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back before the election. He withdrew
Withdrew from secretary and accepted secretary correspondence.
Good. So Viola, we have 1 and 1. Now we get the next one.
So
Oh, that's a good one.
For Felix, for secretary correspondence.
And treasurer. Think about that position, a very important position, even you don't have money, but you're having.
I would like to suggest that in recognition of the rather wonderful work he's done over the past year, that Luis Martinez continue in the treasurer's role, if he will accept.
¿Tú aceptas eso en venezolano?
Sure.
Dile, vale. Sí, vale. You say yes, vale.
Thank you.
Vale is a very good friend from Venezuela, very honored to receive a vale salute. So if she say yes, vale, that means that he trusts you to say yes. Any other candidate? Money, 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 money. No? Well, this is a great election. I don't think that we have to vote again. We have the officer nominated, 1 for each position. So if you by acclamation accept them, we have the new officer of the board. All in favor? Anybody against? I would like you to stand the officer of the organization so everybody can see them. Please stand up.
Chairperson is Omar Maldonado, Vice Chairman is Idalia Dominante, Recording Secretary is Mario Santander, Correspondence Secretary is Feliz Tovar, Treasurer is Luis Martinez.
If no hay ningún recount, we're not in Florida, so it's accepted. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you, Rafael. Thank you, Ramiro.
Ramiro, fírmate aquí. Elected official.
This is the election commission official documentation.
We deactivated the election commission.
And we're going to go now for the program. The program, the idea was Karen Aroesti, so it's only fitting that she would introduce the program. So Karen, gracias.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Part of the follow-up to this wonderful election, now that we have the leadership in place and so many new faces, which is really spectacular, is to think about how the HLG can fulfill its the substance of its mission over the next year and beyond. And the biggest aspect of this, frankly, as is necessary for all of us who are in community building and representing communities, is partnership. And so we asked some of our key members and member agencies to come tonight and speak for a few minutes each on the nature of the work they do and how specifically we may enhance the work they do in the Hispanic community, how we may partner together in the future to do, whether they be events, whether they be project-oriented, specific types of programs, and in terms of the way in which you sit here tonight and think about how you may engage in those things. Consider how the agencies you work with may be a part of that. The idea is the key pieces of the HLG mission are education and advocacy, boiled down to that. There isn't anybody in this room that doesn't do education and advocacy. And so the best way to learn is to hear from our friends to do that. So we pulled together some special folks. So we'll start to hear from Yvonne Bullinger, who is Vice President of Community Health Services for Grace Hill Health Centers, and Marty Cortez, Managing Director for the St. Louis Science Center. Lenny Frankel, who is a partner in the law firm of Frankel Ruman and a former president of the Jewish Community Relations Council, who will talk about the Hispanic outreach and engagement of the Jewish community. For Dr. Robinson, did I hear Judy Dry? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Were you prepared to say anything? He
Not
can tell you
really,
that you're going to
but
come and
I
speak?
can talk.
It's part of the gig, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I can speak for a few minutes.
Okay, for the St. Louis College of Health Careers, and Vanessa Crawford, Executive Director of Missouri Immigrant and Refugee Advocates. And I'll pull up the rear. And just to offer a few minutes from each, and to kind of brainstorm also different ways of enhancing these relationships and collaboration. So Yvonne, if I could call on you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here and giving me this opportunity to tell you a little bit about what we do at Grace Hill and the reach some of you are already familiar. I see some faces here, people that I've had the opportunity to meet before. But Grace Hill Health Centers is an organization that provides, obviously, health care for people in St. Louis. We have 4 comprehensive locations for primary health care and 2 smaller locations that focus on special populations. We serve a total of 42,000 individuals that ranges from children, pregnant moms, adults, seniors, everyone. And out of that number, we serve about 3,500 people that identify themselves as Hispanics of some sort, or Spanish-speaking, native Spanish-speaking. So we don't ask people a whole lot of questions in that area, but if they identify themselves, we will keep track, and that is the number that we can see in our statistics. We have, because that is a significant number of people, about 7% of those who we serve at Grace Hill, and by the way, our locations are all located east of Grand because of the designated areas that we are approved for by the government to operate in. In any case, this number is significant, a significant special population, a group of people that we serve at Grace Hill. So because of that, we have over the years taken quite a few steps to make sure that we are making our services accessible, available, and comfortable, for people who may be here in this country, in this city, and may perhaps not know a whole lot about our healthcare system, may not speak English fluently, or just have some difficulties with accessing healthcare of any other sort. So to that end, we have back in, I'm going to say, I forget the exact year, but 1998, I believe, something like that, we established a location where we endeavored to have at least about half of our staff who were fully Spanish-English bilingual, and we called that location Grace Hill South. When we first established that location, that was located at Jefferson and Chippewa Street in the city. And last year, we were fortunate enough to be able to receive some capital funds and some grants, and we've been putting this together for a while, where we were able to renovate some wonderful space down the street on Broadway, right across from Alexian Brothers. And so that particular location has grown and has continued to be staffed by quite a large group of our staff who are fully Spanish-English bilingual. In addition to that, we also have, as of last year, hired 2 full-time translators on our staff. Now, throughout our history, which goes back to 1906, something like that, we have utilized various translators and things like that. For a number of years, we have contracted with LAMP, then other entities currently, I forget the name of the organization that we contract with, to supplement the translation services that we have in-house, and to supplement the staff that we already have, which ranges from some of our doctors, nurses, lab staff, dental assistants, just really staff throughout our organization. And it's not limited to Grace Hill South. It's just that we've made an effort in that particular location because of the population that we serve and the demographics of that area in the city to have a lot of our bilingual staff located there. Then also at our Solar Denton location, which is located at Lamp and Ravoy, Lamp and Ravoy, we have also increased and been fortunate enough to be able to find qualified, highly qualified staff that are also Spanish-English bilingual to allow us to continue to expand that direct connection between the people that we serve, our patients, and their provider. Whenever we can do that without a translator, whether that is for mental health resources, internal medicine, a mom who's there for obstetrics or whatever it is. It is better if we can do that with the receptionist, our registration staff, who are able to deliver the service in their language. That we prefer that, but it's not always possible. Therefore, we have the translation services that we contract with, as well as the staff that we have hired and brought on. So we continue to look at that, continue to look at the growing number of people that we serve that are Spanish speaking, and I'm focusing on that because of this audience. We continue to expand many of our services, not just those to our Hispanic patients. We have homeless services, and we have certain things that we do there that we're always looking at expanding that. We just have a lot of different initiatives and special populations that we serve. So this is one that is very pertinent, that I expand a little bit on at this meeting. I guess the other thing that I should sort of step back and let you know is what I mean by primary care, which is what we provide at Grace Hill, and it is sort of the opposite of specialty care, right? So it's outpatient care. It's the services that you go to for your general physical, when you have you don't feel well, or children, pediatrics, GYN, women's exams, on a regular basis. We also have dental services, dentists and hygienists. We have optometry at one of our north side locations, accessible to all of our patients. Of course, all of our services are available to any of our patients. We have adult mental health at all of our locations, provided primarily through the primary care provider, therapists, licensed therapists, and also a consulting psychiatrist. And in addition to that, we have a very special, unique service for children with developmental needs, behavioral mental health concerns. It's called the Children's Developmental Center. It's part of our primary care services. And in for that particular service, we have 5 psychologists, number of licensed social workers, a couple of psychiatrists that are part-time, pediatric neurologists, language therapists. So we're trying to make sure that when we have a child, we're looking at their needs from the perspective of pediatrics and beyond, so that through the developmental spectrum, whether that is the dental needs all the way down to how are they developing socially, and how can we help that child. So there's coordination of care, and then there's the community health aspect that we provide extended services to make sure that our patients are managing their health. If they have a chronic disease, for example, we have coaches that follow up on their plans of care. We'll call the patient, we'll talk to them. If necessary, they will come to their home, and we have several staff in that area that are also Spanish-English bilingual. We have nurses and community health assistants that if a woman is pregnant, we will make at least 1 or 2 visits at their home. If they need more, we will provide as many as needed, whether it's once a month or twice a month, whatever that is, depending on what's going on with that pregnant mom, and so that we can make sure they're getting the education and resources, nutrition. We have WIC services, and just a whole lot of stuff. So I could go on for a very long time. And so
let me, if I may ask, now that we're working on the website piece, we could link, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So we want to at least make that available, because
Correct.
I think that's
Yes.
very appropriate to consider. So however we can get in touch to make sure that we're linked that way, and also if there are special services that you do find in terms of the Spanish-speaking community in particular, then the website also becomes a good place, hopefully, to generate traffic.
Yeah, that is one
that,
of the areas where we have not really done as good a job as we need to be doing, which is that we're great at the grassroots part. We have outreach staff and we're not going to go out to the community, without the flyers. You don't see a lot of billboards from us, or radio advertisements and things like that. So, I'm sure that as we look into the future with so many changes in the healthcare environment and hearing that, we need to get up to speed there. So we're sort of the hidden treasure, so to speak, I like to call it. But a lot of people obviously do know that we're there, and we serve 40,000 people nevertheless, and so people know we're there. But not as much as they should know, because many people just don't access care because they don't think that it's there for them. They don't think, I don't have the money. They don't realize we have a sliding scale. Or if they qualify for Medicaid, that we provide that. If they have insurance through their employer, we accept insurance. They may not know that. May not know that we have.
So that's the kind of information that we can lay. In fact, we can do that through Facebook. We can create space for that on the Facebook page too.
And for the audience, do you have a website? We're going to link you into that, but it will be helpful to.
Absolutely, yes. We have a website. I also brought, materials which are in front of you, hopefully, and if you don't have some, then, you can pick one up. The larger book is our annual report, our report to the community, and the smaller brochure, more of the kind of brochure that we give to people. So
do you also have, I know you must have folks who lobby. Have we ever talked healthcare issues on Hispanic Day? I can't remember.
Yes, we do.
So we have, so that may be another place where, there could be some synergy in terms of assistance and back and forth in terms of tentatively scheduled for
Yes.
February
28th
and 29th. In Jefferson City. So that may be something to think about if there are healthcare related issues that could be carried forth by the group that goes to Jefferson City on Hispanic Day. And also Missouri Immigrant, when is your day, Missouri Immigrant?
Ours is March 6th.
March 6th. So there's kind of a follow-up opportunity there too.
And just to restate, it's tentatively. Tentatively, it's not a firm date just yet.
But those are wonderful ideas. I just need to clarify, we do not have anyone who lobbies. We're not allowed.
Well, and actually, I will tell you, we don't either, which is why we have wonderful citizens who just happen to travel to Jefferson City who vote and who can talk to their elected officials.
Right, absolutely. So advocating for the needs of our patients,
Yeah, exactly.
the community, that is, absolutely something that we knew. And I think, the questions of access,
access,
right. Very important. That the resources, and there are certain areas where access is really lacking, such as alcohol substance abuse assistance, for example. I think that is a problem that we see repeatedly. We don't have that particular service or resources at Grace Hill. We can screen people and we refer people. And what you encounter a lot of times is that when you refer people, there is no openings. There's just not a lot of resources, not just for the Hispanic community, just a lot of lack of resources in that particular area. That would be one that I would, recommend to look into.
And I am a witness of the wonderful job that Grace Hill does. I go there regularly, and I feel like at home. And then the people that go there to receive care, they are at home too. So, in fact, Grace Hill South is like full, and they don't have more space for more people. So
Yes.
it's a wonderful place, and I really recommend it for anyone to go there and feel at home and feel well cared with your own language, and the staff is super nice. You have if you have any problem, you don't have any food, they send you to WIC. I mean, everything is in one place, shop, and it's a wonderful place to go. So I really recommend it.
Marty, no better education partner in the city of St. Louis, the city and the county, but working all over the region with the St. Louis Science Center. So
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, sure.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to come and share with you a little bit of what we're doing at the St. Louis Science Center. Our mission is to ignite and sustain science and technology learning. So we spend obviously all our time carrying out this mission. And one thing that I've noticed as I've been there now 7 years is that that our Hispanic visitation could be better. And I'm here to actually share with you some of the things that we are doing and hopes that we can strengthen this partnership and grow the opportunities that we have in serving the Hispanic community. So I look forward to seeing some of you again and hopes that we can encourage some of you to come and volunteer or bring some of your groups. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of what we're doing. And let me tell you a little bit about the Science Center. We're one of the top 5 science centers in the country. We serve over 1 million guests a year. And just recently, 2 years ago, we're named one of the top 10 science centers for families by Parents Magazine. Our complex includes the James S. McDonald Planetarium in the Forest Park side of the highway, and of course we have our 4-story OmniMax Theater, our main building. We have an air-supported dome, that thing that looks like a big white bubble, which actually has outlived its life expectancy. That was supposed to have lasted 13 years. I'm sorry, 10 years. It has lasted 13, which is why in July of this year we inaugurated the new Boeing Hall. It's the new building that was created in the front of our main building. That building is 1,200 square feet, and it is intended to house permanent exhibits, but also traveling exhibitions. And right now we have the Star Trek exhibition. Are any of you here Star Trek fans?
Sure.
Excellent. So I do hope that you'll come. I hope you'll come and see the exhibition. It's there till the end of May. But to remind you, the Science Center is a free institution. We're supported by your tax dollars. Whenever you pay your property taxes, you're contributing to the Zoo Museum District. And we are part of that district, and we get tax dollars, which is only a small portion of what it really costs to operate. Many people say, well, the Science Center is free, and well, it's really not free. It costs us about $16 per person to keep it running and open. One of my greatest responsibilities is not just running the operation, but to also run the departments that provide the cash flow from the operations that helps us run the operation of the Science Center. But as a reminder, I want to tell you we have about 450 free hands-on exhibits. So if you come to the Science Center, I want to remind you to tell your friends. We have free parking on the planetarium side. And then we have these 450 free hands-on exhibits, which are in our center stage on Cyberville, which is all about computer technology. We have an ecology and environment gallery. We have a flight gallery. By the way, in the ecology gallery, we have a paleo prep lab where some of our volunteers go out to Montana. They dig for dinosaur bones. They bring them back, and you and your families can come and see real dinosaur bones that have been brought back by our volunteers. They're actually working on them, and you can watch them while you're there. Come to the Life Science Lab. One of my favorite things in the Life Science Lab is the axolotl salamanders, which are indigenous to Mexico, and they are becoming extinct. And if you come and see them, you'll see that we have bred some in our lab that have glowing properties. So come to the Life Science Lab and check that out. We have the structures galleries, and all day long throughout the day we have free demonstrations. But what I wanted to share with you today, something that's very important, is that we all have to work together as a community to improve educational programs. It is no secret that our children in our country are falling behind kids from other countries. I was fortunate enough to spend some time over the summer as an Eisenhower Fellow, traveling to countries that have surpassed us in education. When compared to other children in other countries, the American kids at age 15 show up 23rd and 25th respectively in math and science, compared to some of the Asian countries where their kids are consistently ranking at the top. So together we really want to work to ensure that all kids in our region, but especially in our group here, let's make sure our Hispanic kids are getting the same opportunities to to succeed like many of us have had. We offer school programs, some that are paid for, some that are free, offered to public schools. We have community outreach right now. We're responsible for the Challenger Learning Center that is in Ferguson. If you've heard of it, it is associated with us. We even do programs for homeschool families that come to the Science Center for a special homeschool day. But I want to talk to you today about a program called YES, Youth Exploring Science. We bring kids that are age 14 with a commitment of 4 years. They come and they start a program where we have them every Saturday during the school year, every day during the summer. They get paid to come because we're teaching them science concepts, we're teaching them work ethic, and we're helping them gain some of the skills they may not have had to succeed. And what I did was I talked to my colleagues and I said, I need to give something to our Hispanic group. So give me some spots on that program. So I'm here to tell you that if you can help me find from an organization, any of our community groups, whether it's St. Cecilia's or any of the other high schools in town where you know there are kids, we will put them in this prep program. I've got 3 spots where they can participate. And they would be on there for 4 years, and by the time they're done, many of the kids choose STEM careers, science, technology, engineering, and math. So if you would like to talk offline, I brought brochures about that program. So let's see if we can find.
Ninth grade students
Yes.
or early ninth grade?
And so they have to be 14 years old in June. They have to be eligible to work in the U.S. because we're literally paying them minimum wage to sit in a classroom and learn.
Nice.
So that's the program I want to talk to you about from the Science Center. We also have another new thing that we just started, and that is we're trying to make sure that we are accessible to a lot of kids. So we're doing a test right now. During the Star Trek exhibition, we are welcoming schools from the county, from the Zoo Museum District, tax district, so county and city. If they call us, they're eligible for certain times where they can have free admission to see this exhibition, which is really all about the beauty of dreaming about science and making science a reality. I mean, many scientific innovations are very similar to things that were presented in the Star Trek program, which is now in its, 40th year? So we'd like to invite schools, so if you have any schools that you know of, I'm going to leave a flyer with you as well that you can share and have them call my reservation staff so they can be booked. It's Tuesday through Thursday, arrivals between 10 and noon, and we have a limit to how many people we can have free, how many schools. But right now I can tell you it's so new that we have lots of spaces.
Maureen?
Yes.
What area does it cover for potential
There's a
candidates?
12 county,
Okay, so it includes also the Illinois side?
not Illinois,
Okay.
Yeah, it's the metropolitan.
just the metropolitan.
And a foreign country.
Yes.
Metro St. Charles is included, right?
St. Charles is not in the Zoo Museum tax district.
Okay.
But I think we
So,
could also link,
But,
I mean,
but
all
yeah, just about anything else.
I mean, I wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
because there's,
So
So
we
the
could,
schools in the ZMD.
we could email through, so also through the scholarship folks, could spread the word through that.
if you need 3 candidates.
We can do
Yeah,
that.
that would be awesome, and if they know each other, that's great. because
Is
we can
there a
integrate
separate
them.
website for that, or not necessarily?
What I'll do is I'll give you the information, and then we can get in touch, but if you have a community group that can recommend these kids, we'd love to integrate them, and I'll get you all in touch with the staff who runs the program. Other things I'd like to share with you that you may not know about the Science Centers, we offer some amazing travel programs, and up until this point, we've been offering them where we've not really even been covering the cost because we were so committed to the mission that we really wanted people to go on these. That may change going into the future given all the attention we've had in the media. But there's some amazing travel programs. As I said, to Montana where you can dig dinosaur bones. There's some programs where they're learning expeditions to Greece, to different places in the world. But then we also have local programs, and we have something called Science Cafe. And on January 19th is our next program. It's free. You're invited to go to Herbie's and listen to great people talk about scientific topics in a very relaxed environment. Have some drinks, order your own food, and just enjoy. So we'd like to see some of you all come. If you ever have a group that wants to come to the Science Center for breakfast and an OmniMax movie, we sell that. And again, the most important thing is our Star Trek exhibition. I'd love to see some of the schools that you all are connected with or that your children are, have them come, because I know I did this with my own school. I've invited the principal to organize some groups and bring them, but I also sent it to St. Cecilia's and a school that I work with closely, and I'm on the board of St. Louis Language Immersion School. So I'm trying to get the schools with it. And what I'd love to see in the future, frankly, is a partnership with you all where some of you are helping me bring groups of kids and that we can deliver scientific content, information, and learning to our kids in Spanish. Right now, we don't have that. I would need eventually to work with you all to say, look, how do we get somebody in here who's going to volunteer to serve just this group and help us make them feel welcome and offer the info and the learning translated into Spanish. So those are some of the things I wanted to talk to you about. We also have public programs where we sell tickets. You can come and learn to ride a Segway. You can bring a group of kids and spend the night at the museum. We have scouting programs. We have summer camps and holiday camps, but you can find all that on the website. Again, the most important thing I wanted to share was the opportunity for 14-year-olds. The fact that I'm also here to offer you some discounts to come and see Star Trek. So I have those discount coupons. I also have a flyer on the Youth Exploring Science program. And there's this other very cool program where you can go and see a full-size cadaver being dissected by students of anatomy from St. Louis University, and it is done very respectfully. I took my whole family a few years back to see this. It's an incredible learning opportunity, so if you all want to come, bring your families. I also have that to offer you. There you go.
And on that note.
Then on that note.
Can donate the volume.
Karen, she also brought some ticket passes that will be raffled at the end of the meeting. So if you stick around, we're going to raffle it. So stay tuned. Okay.
Speaking from a very personal lens, of course, one of the most interesting issues for those of us in the Jewish advocacy community is educational opportunities and outreach with the Spanish-speaking community. The JCRC, which is an umbrella organization of 17 different Jewish agencies, which our agency happens to be one of, has been working on this uniquely. So, Lenny, if you'd come tell us a little bit about what JCRC is doing.
I just want to say I have ridden the Segway at the Science Center. It's really easy and it's a lot of fun, and if I could do it, all of you could do it. I highly recommend the Segway. I've been coming to these meetings pretty regularly for the last 3 or 4 years maybe, and last year I found out I was eligible to join. I didn't know that, so I joined last year. Good. And I'm pleased to do that. And I do represent the JCRC. As Karen said, we are made up of 17 Jewish organizations here in the St. Louis area. And frequently, and I've come here in the past, people have said to me, what is the JCRC? And I try to tell you in about a minute what the JCRC is. Tonight I've been given 5 to 8 minutes, so I'm going to go into a little more detail about what the JCRC is and what we do. Not only do we have the 17 member organizations which send 2 representatives to our council meetings, we also have 14 at-large members, we have a board of directors. And we have certain priorities, and what we try to do is form a consensus so that we can speak for the organized Jewish community here in the St. Louis area. And so we identify and we prioritize issues of concern to the Jewish community. We provide an open forum for the exploration of critical issues in an atmosphere of respect, because there's lots of times there's a difference of opinion. You get 17 organizations. As you know, in this organization, with so many different organizations, you have different opinions. But we really work hard so everybody can express their opinions and do so in a respectful way and listen to other opinions and then try to form consensus of opinions. We articulate positions which reflect then the consensus of the Jewish community, and we develop relevant strategies, programs, and approaches to community issues. We worked on a number of issues recently that you're probably aware of. The metro issue, which had to do with the buses and when they stopped the bus services and all of this type of stuff. We were involved in that, and we mobilized the Jewish community to work on that issue. We did that through our organizations, through our synagogues, through the use of the Jewish community newspaper, which is the St. Louis Jewish Light. And we were an active member of the Metro Coalition. We get involved in ballot issues. There is a lobbyist for the Jewish community in Jefferson City, and we work with and through the lobbyists in Jefferson City. But some of the issues we're involved in, we're very involved in health care, Missouri Health Care for All, that coalition. We participate regularly in that. The issue of such as payday loans, which affects so many people by these outrageous and exorbitant fees that are charged for these loans. We were very active in the English-only legislation to defeat the English-only legislation. And that goes back years, and I worked with Tony Ramirez years ago on that. In fact, I had the pleasure of taking Tony to Israel as a representative of the Jewish community and the Hispanic community on a mission to Israel a number of years ago. And we are vigorously opposed to something that's coming up on the ballot, which is the flat sales tax, having a sales tax in lieu of an income tax. We are absolutely opposed to that. You'll be hearing a lot more about that. On a national issue and on a local issue, we are very concerned about Israel, and we stand strongly in support of Israel and the security of Israel. And it's a high priority for us as a people. And the love of Israel is deeply embedded in our consciousness. And we believe that a strong Israel serves the best interests of the United States. We don't ignore the aspirations of the Palestinian people. We're not, and we are in favor of a two-state solution. And we understand the longing for the Palestinian people to have peace. And we really believe that most people want peace. Obviously, there's factions. There's extremists on both sides. We recognize there's extremists on both sides. But we truly believe that most people long for peace. We're very, very concerned in the Mideast about the issue of Iran, the development of nuclear weapons, and how that is going to change the entire Mideast structure and the nuclear proliferation in the Mideast, and how other countries are going to want nuclear weapons and what's going to happen in the Mideast. That's a very, very large concern for us. We work through committees and task forces. We have an advisory committee in the following areas. One on Israel, one on international human rights, one on Iran, one on domestic issues advocacy. We have one on healthcare issues, on religion-state issues, on Jewish environmental initiative, which is on the environment and things that harm our environment and how to protect our environment, and on social justice. We work strongly in the social justice area. We administer a fund called the Jewish Fund for Human Needs, which is a philanthropic effort of the Jewish community. We give small grants generally to small organizations, generally startup organizations, and they apply for grants, and we send out teams of people to look at the programs that these organizations have, and then we make grant to them to benefit their activities. We have a lot of intergroup activities through the Michael and Barbara Newmark Institute for Human Relations, which began in May of 2010. We do many things, including a number of programs. We have programs which celebrate and promote diversity in the St. Louis community area. We educate about the differences of people of diverse backgrounds through dialogue and other meetings. We cooperate and we network with many organizations in common cause with others on issues that support one another, as well as issues for the common good. We advocate positions and support programs that promote civil and human rights and the inalienable dignity of the human person, and that combat bigotry, prejudice, discrimination, abuses based on differences in religion, race, ethnic background, or sexual preference. The Newmark Institute, which I just mentioned, in partnership with the Aquinas Institute of Theology and Eden Theological Seminary, has developed a relevant and powerful interfaith programming for the St. Louis community. And this past summer, we had a presentation on Christian anti-Semitism that was very well attended. These programs in the last 2 years have been taking place at Aquinas Institute. Last year, through the Newmark Institute, we worked with the Opera Theater of St. Louis in an interfaith effort to develop an educational programming relating to the production of the opera, The Death of Klinghoffer, that was produced here, that was shown here in St. Louis. And we knew that that was going to be a very sensitive production. It had to do with a ship in the Mediterranean, which was taken over by Palestinians and terrorists, and they threw a man overboard in his wheelchair, and his name was Klinghoffer. And there was an opera written. And we knew that was going to be sensitive, and so in order to work with that, we had programs to educate the Jewish community about this opera in a very strong interfaith way with the Muslim community, the Jewish community, and the Christian community working together so that the opera could be put on and enjoyed by all for what it was, and it was a very successful event. We have an interfaith breakfast dialogue group, which meets on a monthly basis. That's really, I think, the oldest interfaith breakfast dialogue group in the country, and it's gone on for more than 25 years now. And it brings together leaders from the Christian, Jewish, Muslim, and a range of other religious communities to discuss issues of interest and engage in dialogue. We have an African American Jewish task force, which is co-sponsored by the JCRC and the Urban League of St. Louis, and we meet on a pretty regular basis, and we talk about issues of interest to both the African American community and the Jewish community. We also have an African American Jewish Dialogue Initiative that also brings together grassroots members of the community of these communities to perform various functions and tasks. We have a dialogue group at Eden Seminary that meets a Christian Jewish dialogue group that meets and discusses primarily Israel and issues in the Mideast and how to deal with those kinds of issues. We have a Muslim Jewish teen dialogue group, which has been in existence now for 5 years, and we bring together young people from both communities, from the Muslim community and the Jewish community. They work together and they learn about each other, and it really creates friendships, but mainly it creates understanding, which is so important. We were proud to sponsor the JCRC Student-to-Student program, which is designed to reduce prejudice, and we take Jewish students and they go high school students, and they go around to different schools, both Catholic schools and public schools, and they put on programs and they meet with students and they talk about the Jewish religion and answer questions about the Jewish religion. And this has been going on for a number of years. Thousands of kids have now really learned about and met young Jewish kids and been able to ask questions about the Jewish religion. And a lot of these kids are people who had never met a Jew before they heard from these students. Through the Newmark Institute, we're now establishing a Hispanic Outreach Committee, and the chair of that is Teddy Macias, her husband at Washington University. You might know him, Vice Chancellor there. And we're working currently with the Hispanics Art Council, and there's going to be a concert on February the 11th at the Sheldon, and I'm sure you either have or you will be getting information about that. We're participating in that. We're working closely with the Hispanic Arts Council.
Can the office make a link available for that, so we can put that on the website as well?
Sure.
February event. I'm sorry, is the dialogue group open? I mean, if people wanted to participate?
We have lots of dialogue.
Well, on the Hispanic Jewish side.
Well, I haven't talked about that one yet, so let me dive. That's my last. The last one I was going to cover, and that's a group called Shalom Amigos, and that's a new dialogue group that we have. It's not so new. It's been going on for several years now. Guillermo was a participant. I'm a participant, and it's been a very interesting group. We have Hispanic members. Primarily Catholic, but not all Catholic. We have Hispanic Jewish members, and we have Jewish members who are non-Hispanic. And so and we have different programs. We had a combined program with the Hispanic community, some groups of the Hispanic community last Sunday, Las Posadas. We had a celebration, and it was really, really beautiful. I'd never been to anything like that before. It was so interesting, and it was so much fun. We just had a wonderful time. We were so happy to be able to participate. So, yeah, if you have an interest in participating in that, see Guillermo or myself, and we'll talk about that. It is limited by number because we can't have. It's a smaller group. It's not a huge group, but we can always get another one or two people involved. So we'd love to do that. And just so you know, shalom means peace, Hebrew for peace. I think you know what amigos means. So that's our newest group, and that's just a little bit of a taste of what we do through the JCRC. But we've been doing it a long time. Many of you know our executive director, Bach Abramson Goldstein, an immensely talented lady who is leading us. Our current president is Jerry Griman, who's also an attorney here in Clayton. Some of you may know Jerry. But if you have any other questions about the JCRC, I'd certainly be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Following the kids, what the kids do is they go through the YES program. They go on an expedition. They go dig up a few dinosaur bones. They get into STEM careers, and then they come to your
That's
outfit,
right.
and they go from there.
That would be awesome.
How's that for synergy?
I would love to stay, but
No,
my
please.
children are home alone. So, enough said.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Well, I'm here on behalf of Dr. Rush Robinson, St. Louis College of Health Careers. And essentially, who we are, what we are, is we are proprietary education, which is for profit in the city of St. Louis. We also have a campus in Fenton, but I'm primarily at the city campus. We're right across Highway 40 from Barnes Hospital. And what we train our students in are entry-level healthcare professions. We offer medical assisting, medical office administration, pharmacy technician, patient care technicians, and we also offer associate degrees in all those programs. Our county campus has more of the nursing programs, occupational therapy, physical therapy, that sort of thing. And Karen had mentioned, how we can partner with one another to be mutually beneficial. And I have to say, Dr. Robinson, that is the thing closest to his heart, is the community and partnering with the community. We have a department at our school that is labeled community outreach. That is very unique in proprietary education. I've worked in proprietary education for almost 30 years, and I've never seen another school that has done that. And we have staff that their goal is to partner with community organizations, primarily for the assistance of our current students if they're having trouble with paying their rent or getting their bills paid, that sort of thing. So, but we do a lot of community events. Our school has participated. We participate every, it's Dr. Martin Luther King weekend. We participate with the Science Center. We have staff and students that man tables there and do vital signs for the participants in that event. We have externs that go to all of the facilities, Grace Hill, People's Health Center, Merle Hilliard Davis, Comprehensive Health. So our students are out there in the community showing, what we're offering to our clientele. As a matter of fact, I was at Casa de Salud this morning. They're setting up their new clinic. And so we were over there, the head of our medical assistant department went over there, and we tried to kind of get things together to figure out how to set up the exam room. So our school is going to be doing that for them and help them get the exam room set up so that they can treat patients adequately and have everything that they want. And one of the managers was asking about our school, and I know in his mind he was saying, well, you're for profit. And he's thinking, why can't these kids go to the community college, get the same education? It's a lot cheaper. And that is a true statement. My son is a graduate of community college. He's a radiology tech, and I have a lot of respect for them. But here's the thing, and that is that we nurture our students when they first come to us. Unlike the traditional college experience, when our students come in, a lot of them, maybe they're older, they've been out of school for a while, maybe they're kids that didn't have the most positive educational experience, and we work with them during the first semester to try and make them feel good about their decisions to get into the healthcare industry. And so we try to support them. Then when they're with us for a semester, we really light into them, so we get regular on them.
Are you recruiting from different communities, or not necessarily? Students are finding you?
Both, actually. The truth of the matter is, probably about 50% of our students are from personal referrals. So students that graduate from us will send their friends to us. And if they're good graduates, we're happy about that. The biggest problem that we have, though, is bilingual trained healthcare people. I just actually got a call this afternoon from an organization in Illinois saying I have to have a bilingual medical assistant. Have to. It's not optional. Now, we've convinced CASA that not everyone needs to be bilingual because they accept our medical assistant students, and as long as there's a translator there, they all function very well together. But this organization needs a bilingual medical assistant, and I'm very fortunate that I have one that just graduated, but that's the thing, is I hear this all the time, and we don't have that many bilingual candidates. So, as far as partnering goes, if you know of any young people that want entry-level positions, yes.
Is there offers of scholarships that will avail individuals that bring up
The scholarships will not cover the entire tuition, but our students are eligible to apply for Pels. If they're eligible for a Pell Grant, they get federal loans, and the school does have scholarship programs. So the school itself will offer scholarships, and there's also outside scholarships that we make available to the students. But like I said, it rarely will cover the entire tuition. So that's all.
All right, that's
Thank
very Vanessa? Oh, goodness. All right, in anticipation of the upcoming legislative session and various and sundry things going on around the state that members should be aware of, and how can we keep on that?
Sure. Hi, a lot of you know me. My name is Vanessa Crawford. I'm the Executive Director of Missouri Immigrant and Refugee Advocates. You might have known my predecessor, Jenny Raffanon, too. She's now Jenny Raffanon Kennedy, and she moved to Pittsburgh with her husband. So, if you're not familiar with MENA, we're a coalition organization that was founded around about 2005, depending on how you count. There was a group of folks who came together in response to some really negative anti-immigrant federal legislation. I guess that actually was back in 2003. Like I said, it depends on how you count. Some folks started to get together from the labor community, faith groups, service providers, to respond to that issue. They dealt with it as a coalition, sort of disbanded when it stopped, and then there were hearings around the state on immigration issues that were being held by these really anti-immigrant state legislators. So the group came back together with a few more people, organized around those issues, sort of disbanded, and then realized that this was an issue that was never going to go away, that we were kind of in a time and a place when legislators were going to consistently attack the rights of immigrants at the federal, state, and local levels. And so MURA came together officially as a permanent coalition. Like I said, we started out with about 6 or 8 people around the table, and now we're a coalition of about 40 organizations. That includes labor unions like SEIU, faith groups and service providers like Catholic Charities, ethnic associations like the Organization of Chinese Americans and the Somali Foundation, JCRC and the ADL are both members. The HLG isn't a member, interestingly, so if you guys wanted to think about that. That really is something, in all seriousness, that's something that we should probably be talking about. And so we do a lot of things. We advocate for the rights of immigrants at the state, federal, and local level. So at the state level, I'm in Jeff City every week during the legislative session. Last year, I know that I came and spoke to the same group about the English-only driver's license testing bill that we were successful in defeating. There was more than a dozen anti-immigrant bills introduced last year, and we defeated all of them. So go team. This year, we're expecting a tougher fight than we had last year. I don't know if you know who Chris Kobach is. He's actually elected as the Secretary of State in the state of Kansas, but he's also on the staff of an organization called the Federation for American Immigration Reform, which is fair, sounds great, it's not great. They're an avidly anti-immigrant organization. They're designated as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. And that guy he wrote SB 1070 in Arizona, he wrote the Alabama bill, he wrote the ordinance in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. Valley Park, if you all remember the Valley Park ordinance, he wrote that. And he says that he really thinks that Missouri could pass an Alabama bill this year. That's his goal. So, we thought we had it tough with the English driver's license bill last year. We really are looking at a legitimate fight about whether or not police should check papers at every traffic stop, whether or not school teachers should ask kids status before they can come to school, whether or not all employers would have to use E-Verify. In Alabama, one of the kind of sneakiest parts of the bill said that government agencies can't give services to people without documents, and so what's happening is people are having to prove citizenship or residency in order to get like water and power and sewer and trash from the county, and they're actually turning off people's water. For real. So this is an issue that, and all of this has been challenged in court, and we still don't know what's going to happen, so we're expecting a fight like that in Jefferson City this year. The first day of pre-filing was December 1st, and we had our first anti-immigrant bill on December 1st. Senator Will Krause from the Kansas City area. But it's a referendum, so if the legislature passed it, it would put something on the ballot in November, so it's a good turnout tool, that would, if the voters approved the referendum, the state attorney general would have to sue ICE to enforce federal immigration laws more strictly within the state of Missouri. From our perspective, it would be hard to enforce ICE regulations more strictly in the state of Missouri than they already are. But we would be talking about a statewide ballot initiative where, we'd have, TV ads and radio talking about, getting the immigrants out of Missouri, basically, which would be terrible. So we really need a lot of help in fighting these things at the state level. Like I said, we have a really good track record of being able to beat this back. They beat back a similar bill in Kansas last year. So, you know, all is not lost, it's just hard work. A lot of the other stuff that we do is grassroots organizing at the local level. I don't know how many of you know, there's an initiative on the ballot in Springfield, Missouri this February that was put there by the Minutemen of the Ozarks. They got enough signatures to do citywide E-Verify. Do you all know what E-Verify is? I say it under me. Citywide E-Verify for every employer, bar none, of every employee, bar none. So we have been very active in the campaign to defeat that. That's on February 7th. We're really involved in anti-racial profiling issues. I just say St. Charles Rock Road in a lot of rooms, and people go, yes, I know exactly what you mean. But Police has been working with us really closely on that. We've been working with the city of St. Anne to deal with a lot of the immigrant harassment complaints that have been coming.
Let me raise that.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that is missing in that St. Anne discussion, potentially, is what should be a lawsuit, which doesn't exist yet because there's been a lack of finding the right plaintiffs. People don't want to be plaintiffs. It's intimidating. And it's risky for some. So spreading the word among folks you know who might be St. Anne residents, to find who's not sitting around that table currently, to see about finding people who would be willing to take on that obligation is actually a very important thing that we could do.
You know, and actually, just to get into the nuts and bolts of that a little bit, police departments are required every year to report traffic stops broken down by race. They have to say how many white people, black people, Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans, and other, I don't know who falls into other, everybody else, they pull over every year. And the number of Hispanic traffic stops they say they make is very low. But the number of Hispanic traffic stops that the people in the community experience anecdotally seems to be very high. And so we have a lot of trouble documenting that this is the problem that the people in the community are facing. And when we talk to the police chief, he says, well, nobody ever complains, so how do we, nothing happened, right? Like, if there's no complaint, then we don't know that there's an issue. So our coalition has a complaint form that we have been asking people to fill out that goes through us, that is turned in anonymously so people don't have to fear retribution if that's something that they're fearful of. And a lot of times people, they don't know the name of the officer, they don't know where exactly they were that it happened, or they don't speak enough English to know what the officer said to them or what that they were ultimately charged with. You know, sometimes we're talking to a spouse after their husband has already been in removal proceedings as a result of this traffic stop. One of the most important things that we're trying to document is that these stops are actually happening. Yeah.
So let me ask real quick. When we're talking about, when they're saying that the numbers aren't that high for Hispanic stops, in perspective to what? As far as the entire population, or as far as how many, you know, are they bulking everybody together saying, well, it's not that many Hispanics, it's like, maybe we only stop 25 Hispanics, but you might have 50 Hispanics living in the area.
Right. No,
What is it relative to?
It is low relative to all possible accounts. It's relative compared to the total population of the city. It's relative compared to the Hispanic population of the city. It's so low that it doesn't make sense. And so
the question is whether or not police officers are relying on the form and actually not saying that they're stopping Hispanics when in fact they are.
If stopping means citation or simply the act of being stopped and then nothing happened and they went on?
It's citations.
Okay, so
although one of the things that we found is people who are arrested are often never issued a citation. And it doesn't matter what you were charged with because you end up in ICE proceedings and you never go to court in St. Anne for your broken taillight or driving without a license or whatever it was. you're caught up in ice and gone.
Vanessa,
Before that ever matters. Yeah.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So if I am stopped by a policeman,
Yeah.
is he gonna ask me whether I'm white, Hispanic, or not? Because I got a ticket in Webster Groves, not to admit,
No.
and they didn't ask my ethnicity,
They didn't have to?
but he put me white. He doesn't know that Rodriguez is Hispanic, I guess.
I got the same.
So the question is, how do they know
Right.
unless they ask?
That's
What
the
about
problem with profile.
my son-in-law, Leighton Wasilak? He's Hispanic, but he has a Wasilak name, so.
Right.
So, in order to
They
fill
don't,
the.
right. I mean, and Karen actually knows more about this than I do, what the law is, but they don't have to ask, it's sort of a best guess. But I mean, we've come across people whose citation is marked as white and they are clearly Hispanic.
It's an attempt to obscure the number.
Guillermo Rodriguez, that's not enough to say that you're Hispanic.
Maybe we're doing a lot of education in the right way in Webster.
Yeah.
Groves. Who knows?
So is this, and this, a part of getting this issue resolved or addressed? The components that I'm hearing are missing at the moment are simply plaintiff. So we have the structure to take it to a further step.
Yeah.
With lawyers, with money, with whatever needs to be
Well,
done.
no, it would be done through public service. It would be done through a public service.
Okay.
lawsuit. But I think ultimately that there are three components. One is the police education piece, which my agency is working on. One is the community education piece, which is both part of the two-way conversation, which is that the community has to trust to some extent that there are police officers out there who are good, reasonable people who are working the right way to try to do the right thing. And so the idea is to help the police departments determine who are the bad officers. And deal with that in a legitimate way in a communication. The other piece is we're talking about changing the Missouri statute, which has some problems with it. We're talking about seeking amendments to that this year, at least starting. It may take us a couple of years.
You mentioned lawsuit, getting enough people to do a lawsuit. Would a lawsuit actually take care of the problem? I mean,
No, but
if you have a lawsuit, the
No.
officers are still going to be there. I mean,
So that's one of the reasons why we're doing the complaint form,
Right.
right? Because if it's the same three officers that are the whole problem,
Then
or
we
if it's,
can-
that's it.
is it possible to get rid of those officers if they have enough complaints against them?
Yeah. Yeah, if the department would see that there would be a reason to remove those, you have disciplinary procedures to remove officers. I look at my lens is sometimes lawsuits are a really good thing because they raise the profile of the issue. They can educate people broadly. They can create coalitions and allies for a particular cause, and they can get the bad guys out. So yeah, but they're wieldy, they're expensive, they're time consuming, and people who take on the role of being plaintiffs, civil rights plaintiffs in those lawsuits, they fight the fight for everybody who follows. It's a big burden. It's not to be underestimated.
Yes, it is.
But you'll be at Hispanic Day, we could be at Hispanic Day?
Yeah, I'm down there, so I'll be there. Yeah, and like I said, Mira Lobby Day, if you're not going to Hispanic Lobby Day, Mira Lobby Day is on March 6th, or you can come to both.
And again, getting that information to us would be great tonight, and we can make sure that we have that information.
March 6th.
Thank you.
Put it in a minute.
So I know you have like 3 seconds in which you can wrap up. There's a lot of information there, but so let's do it through the website and start getting these bits out so people can figure out how they want to engage. Thanks.
And
No, I'm not gonna say anything. It's just-
Guillermo?
yes,
I know that and I don't want to interject and delay the meeting, but as I said, I think I'm a member. I don't know if I'm in good standings right now. I'm here. I'm a professor of neurology. And I, as I said, work as a voluntary for the American Heart Association. I've been working for several years with the American Heart Association, promoting what is called the program Power to End Stroke among the African American community. Recently, the American Heart Association, particularly in this area, meaning Midwest, has had an interest in reaching out to the Hispanic community to try to decrease increase the awareness, number one, of heart disease and stroke, and perhaps reach out to organizations that can actually put the American Heart Association in contact with people so people can get educated about what the issues are. Nationally, I can tell you that the American Heart knows that there are significant problems with access to care, to disparities in care, and that stroke and heart disease are very prevalent, very present in the Hispanic community, and therefore the need to educate. And so, as a matter of introduction, as I said, Sandy is here from the American Heart. I'm a volunteer for the American Heart. I don't work for the American Heart. My work, as I said, is for St. Louis University. And we hope that at least in the future, perhaps we can have an educational program first for these for this constituency, and perhaps through that reach out to all the organizations through where we can actually have contact with grassroots groups and so on, so we can raise the awareness, because we know that Hispanics are not getting the care that they need. And as I said, I've been working for the Power to End Stroke, which is for African Americans. It's a passion for me, but if I can help, I would say, my people, then I like to do so.
Thank you. Karen, were we going to have a representative of the Diversity Awareness Partnership?
They were unable to join us tonight. They ended up having conflicts last minute.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, you have been very brave. Is there any new business or old business? No. You want to talk? No, I thought that she was with the diversity, but she's not with the diversity. Huh?
Go ahead, try.
Okay,
Thank you. I appreciate that. And actually, Dr. Cruz actually underestimates his involvement with the American Heart Association. He serves at the national level as a consultant and a volunteer. I'm Sandy with the American Heart Association. I am the Regional Director for Health Equity. And I'm honored to be able to speak tonight. I wasn't expecting it, but
neither was I.
I have brought some materials for your review. One of the things that we are very interested in is beginning to reduce the risk of stroke and heart disease in the Latino and Hispanic communities that I'm responsible for on both the St. Louis side and the Illinois side as well. This is an effort to begin to build a coalition. I need your assistance in guiding programming, what that looks like in terms of cultural relevance. How do we deliver the programs? We have some set programs, but we also have local autonomy to be able to shape those for the local need. Macy's is one of our sponsors for our Go Red. If you all are familiar with the red dress pins, that's the American Heart Association. The American Heart Association has been instrumental in being able to do a number of things in public health. The fact that there is an AED in this building, the American Heart Association invented that AED and passed the legislation to get those AEDs in buildings. We do CPR. We also are responsible for funding 9 Nobel laureate researchers that have made the survival rate for people who have had heart attacks and strokes rise precipitously over the years. So we are in the community doing education, outreach, programming. We're also involved in the community in terms of building corporate partnerships, grassroots partnerships, and a number of different venues that we're able to bring awareness for the stroke risk and the heart attack risk in minority communities. Minorities are disproportionately affected. Heart disease and stroke are the #1 and #3 killers of all Americans, and minorities are disproportionately affected. We spent $73 billion on stroke disability costs last year alone. So when you think about the family members, the diet, the lack of exercise,
the risk, the smoking, everything that encompasses these stroke risks. We are here to help educate and enlighten the community and to reduce those risks and increase the vitality of those communities. And I ask you and urge you to please help me in helping to shape that for the St. Louis region. I'm going to leave some materials here for your review. These are primarily our Go Red materials that are in Spanish. They're available in both English and Spanish. And it offers an opportunity for folks to learn their family histories, to become aware of their own personal risk for stroke, and to begin to involve their families in healthy eating and physical activity and reducing those individual stroke risks. I did want to also make an announcement and invite you to our Martin Luther King event that's going to be coming up January 14th. It's going to be at the Sheraton St. Louis City Center on 400 South 14th Street in the city. The health fair is a huge health fair. We have about 30 vendors available to do free blood glucose, cholesterol, blood pressure readings, body mass index readings. We also have dental available for folks, postural screenings, and a variety of resources such as smoking cessation and things that promote healthy lifestyles for everybody involved. Following the health fair runs from 8 to 11, and following the health fair, we'll also have a free luncheon that's available. And one of the things that Dr. Martin Luther King, who was inclusive and all about inclusion, one of the things that he was very involved in is healthcare and equal access for healthcare. He said that one of the most inhumane things we can do is reduce the access of healthcare for people who are most in need of it. So just wanted to invite you to be part of the coalition I'm trying to build to help deliver the programming here in St. Louis. I have forms available if you're interested in serving as a volunteer. See me after the meeting and I'll be happy to get you signed up. And thank you, Dr. Cruz.
The American Heart Association is a great organization in terms of what they're trying to accomplish. And I think what we are in need of is of advocates and particularly Hispanics in this area. We don't have them. I know that the American Heart has put out some programs in Spanish and programs like Go Red for women and the West Coast, but we don't hear about them here just because we don't have, or they have not had the support, and so we're reaching out to this group as leaders of the Hispanic community, and perhaps through you guys, perhaps reach out to people that work with you or in your organizations that may be interested to be part of and being spokespersons for them and be educated in the problem and then advocate to decrease heart disease and stroke.
And thank you, Dr. Cruz. That is another key aspect of this programming, is to act as an advocate. For example, we just had an action alert where we were asking our volunteers to take action in writing Congress because they just passed legislation that pizza will be designated as a vegetable in school lunches. So, yes, ma'am.
I'm vice chair of Casa de Salud, and we will make the link.
I'm meeting with Kathy Matthews.
Okay.
I have a special request. I like the state to be Catholic as the vegetable also. It came out of the cow, they eat free stuff. So we should be good for having our.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandy. Now, two good news. I'm not going to read my chairman's report. Good. I'm going to put it on the website. And even better news, I'm going to raffle, courtesy of the Science Center, 2 tickets for the exhibition of Tar Tre. And I have already a number here, 1 to 50.
Oh,
So, excuse me. Yes, sir.
I was a better idea. Whomever's birthday.
No. I'm the chair. This is my last meeting. This is my last meeting, and I decide. And we're gonna go in order.
Yeah.
One?
No.
No.
What? 10.
You wrote the number down?
I have it there. Yes, sir. To prove it to you.
33.
20.
8.
7.
I was gonna say 7, but
43.
42.
50.
26.
37.
11.
49.
44.
23.
We went through all.
No, senor.
No.
26.
No.
Let's see what happens. It said maybe 45.
15.
I did my own.
Another one. You have another chance.
I'm gonna go with 8 again then.
18.
13.
27.
22.
37.
66.
2. 32.
11.
6.
17.
1.
19. We should have won just in order.
You're gonna be my
Oh, I know what he did.
7.
0. No, it's not 0. 0. I said from 1 to 50.
Yeah, I know. We covered most of it.
Okay, I'm gonna try something else because the number was 24. 24.
I knew that. You didn't give me a chance.
I got very close.
Maria was the closest to that.
I said 25.
Okay, who was closer?
23.
Maria
I
Wait.
said 23.
There was another 24.
First come, first served.
Okay, this is for Tornado Alley, 4 to go to the Omni Max. And I'm not gonna do the 49 because nobody was gonna get it. So, the question is,
Who wants to go? That's the question.
actually, she also had a 23, so I'm gonna give this to
Motion.
I said the motion,
Motion adjourned by Jaime Torres, second by Rafael Luna.
All in favor? Aye.
Hey, don't forget, there's more stuff here from the science center. You want to pick them up?
I don't even know. The first bonus in Missouri. From noon till, right now, it's December. But my program is 12 to 1.
Hey, we are discount tickets for the science center. Discount savings. Discount.
No, I mean, we met back before. Because
Anybody wants to make a payment?
I would love to